This world is not fair. There was a saying. The world is one big, intricate machine. With the people as its cogs and the laws as its screws, the countless pieces connect with each other in order to operate. Through continuous refining on top of repeated collapse and reconstruction, modern societies eventually reformed. The more complicated a machine appears to be, the more delicate it really is. One loose screw would stop the whole thing. One failed detail would lead to collapse. Therefore, must be ever vigilant and watchful. Remove every single problematic piece. Okay, I guess there are more characters. Nelly, go for it.
Mommy needs to head out and take care of something, so have dinner without me. You can eat whatever you like. If Daddy calls, just tell him I'm in a class, okay?
The laughter of an unknown man, hurried up footsteps, and the sound of engine starting. It was at that moment I heard the sound of dissonance from the machine. It was very cold. I felt a freezing chill as I regained consciousness. It wasn't so much that I felt cold when I woke, but then icy traffic caused me to wake up. As I opened my eyes, they were met by darkness. All I could make out was that I was in some sort of small room. This place was unknown to me. It wasn't my room, nor was it a hotel room. My head hurt as if I had a hangover. I tried to stand up in order to find some sort of light switch, but all I felt from my leg was numbness. Where I am? The smell of cigarettes and mold in the air was nauseating. As I fought to regain my bearings, I realized something was not quite right. What happened to me? A sense of unease overcame me. I tried to calm down and organize my thoughts. I recalled that I was on my way home from cram school. Natalie.
Finally up, rich boy.
You are... An unfamiliar voice rang my ears, right when I opened my mouth to ask. Out of nowhere, a foot swiftly sunk itself into my stomach, launching me towards the wall. I felt my stomach turn. I almost vomited. However, all that came out was a dry fit of coughing. I couldn't stop spasm on the ground. All that was on my mind was the intense pain, yet I was too scared to make any sound. Countless questions went through my mind, but before I could speak, I heard that cold voice again.
Who gave you permission to talk?
There's no change in her expression as she watched me struggle. There's nothing but a look of pure animosity in her eyes.
You better keep your mouth shut. I do not have the patience nor intention to play nice with you. Got that?
I struggled to stand up, then came to the shocking realization that my limbs weren't numb. They were tightly tied up with rope. I struggled against it, but the rope was far tighter than I imagined.
Rich boy, do you understand the words coming out of my mouth, or do you only respond after a good beating?
Bitch. That kick made me almost scream and curse at her. However, knowing now was not the time to confront her, I gripped my teeth and forced myself to stay calm. I think I said the moment could be fatal, and to grasp the situation first. Suddenly, she got closer, not realizing her intention. My body instinctively tried to move away from her touch.
Scared?
Noticing my slight reaction, she gave me a snort of contempt. The last shred of defiance disappeared as soon as the blade touched my body. There's no chance of victory no matter how I resisted. But waiting for her next move, all I could hear in the quiet room was her shallow breathing. The tip of the blade moved across my skin, making a small cut. My tensed-up nerves were extra sensitive, detecting the exact temperature of the air, the crudeness of the rope, and the sharpness of the blade. There's a certain feeling of warmth from the blood that flowed out from the wound down my arm. Nevertheless, my mind was extremely clear. Kidnapping, human trafficking, organ trade. A few possibilities came to mind, but there was no way to determine which.
Since we have to hang out a little before I get the ransom, let's make a few things clear. Don't try to run or talk without permission. I don't mind breaking a few bones. Humans can handle a few just fine, after all. You hear me?
I nodded quietly. I couldn't digest all the information at once, but one key word stood out. Ransom. The blade left my skin, so I heard a little sigh escape from her. Just the sound of light footsteps moving towards the wall. Before I could even feel confused, a glaring light broke through the darkness of the room. Not able to adjust to the sudden brightness, it took me quite a while to finally open my eyes. What came to view was totally foreign to me. The room was roughly 300 square feet in size. The wall that was meant for a painting was now mottled, the original color no longer visible. Time had its way with the room, causing everything to become decayed, be it the wooden chair, desk, or bed. The resulting smell of mold in the air was reminiscent of ruins you find in a movie. The owner of this place stood near the window with a taunting smirk on her lips.
Never lived in a place like this, did you, rich boy?
The words were clearly provocative. Bearing the burning pain, I tried to observe her through the lamplight. She was a young-looking woman. She wore a dark overcoat and a scarf. Her shoulder-length hair casually scattered behind her back, with bangs almost covering her eyes. Surprisingly, she wore no face mask or helmet, nor made any attempt to avoid my staring. She didn't seem to mind her face being seen. She didn't have the stereotypical look of a criminal, despite a hint of unease on her meager face. There wasn't an ounce of guilt within those dark brown pupils of hers that stared straight at me.
You know what? I hate people like you.
She was talking to herself, ignoring how pale my face was, making no attempt to elaborate. This was not a conversation, but a simple declaration. Who was she? Where was I? What did she want? Why did she do such a thing? Countless questions circled around my brain, but not a single sound came out of my mouth when I opened it. What did eventually come out was something totally unrelated. Why me? The unfamiliar dry voice sounded like some rough sandpaper.
Why?
The girl mumbled my question next to the window. The light reflected off the girl's face. Orange spots of light scattered across her messy hair, dancing like fire. She hung her head in contemplation. It took her a while to raise her head again with a grin.
No particular reason.
As though it's only natural, the empty voice held no emotions, but instead a malevolent sense of pleasure.
The world is just unfair. Isn't that your favorite line?
Seeing the shock in my eyes, she chuckled. With that mocking statement, the curtain was raised for the kidnapping incident. I stood in a world of darkness. One moment. There was no sky or ground, only endless darkness. A dream. I realized I missed all the fuzziness that was in a dream, yet I couldn't control all my thoughts. The intermittent noise was annoying like a radio report signal. Suddenly, the ground began to slowly sink as if it were quicksand. I tried to move my legs, but I realized I couldn't move. My heels, my knees, and then my arms. The darkness gradually devoured my body. I heard that vivid disdain before my vision was overtaken.
I hate people like you.
What time was it now? I couldn't tell the time. I needed to escape. Untying the rope was my only option. Only access were the door and a window. Is there really nowhere else? I should try to converse with her, but a relationship could be beneficial. Still half asleep, I opened my eyes. The room before me was still the same unfamiliar one. So it wasn't a dream. A long sigh couldn't relieve the depression in my chest. My heart sunk to the pit of my chest. I was kidnapped. What was the objective? What should I do? My mind was all blank. There was more confusion than fear. It's been said that in the presence of a threat, you either become petrified, try to flee, or try to fight. Reflexively, stopping your actions to avoid catching predators' attention is probably the best way to describe how it felt. I tried to pull the rope, but nothing happened. The headache was hard to bear. The pain medication I usually kept on me was in my bag. Were just out of reach in my current state. Damn it! My mind did get clearer after sleeping. Everything that happened yesterday still felt like a dream, but the reality of it was right before my eyes. Morning light brightened up the room. I could see the peeling paint on the wall and old pieces of furniture. There was nothing but decay, as though it was untouched for a long time. Was it an abandoned, empty house, or did they actually live here? The kidnapper was nowhere to be found. I couldn't hear anything, thus couldn't tell how many people were around. Perhaps shouting for help might catch someone's attention, but the kidnapper might also be right outside the door.
Ooh, timer mechanics.
Let's contemplate the situation. My yelling might not be heard. I could be in trouble if it got the kidnapper's attention instead. I could still feel the pain from where I got kicked the day before. I tried to make myself a little more comfortable and relax my back by leaning on the wall. First, my physical condition. My hands were tied up to the point that I had no space to move around, let alone release the rope. My body overall was fine, but I couldn't really rest in this position. I had to save my energy to escape. So, where to start? I married before arriving here. I was on my way home from cram school. Someone suddenly called my name when I passed by a road under construction. My mouth was covered before I could turn around. Last thing I remember was the smell of some chemical. Some sort of anesthetic. Either maybe? This felt like some plot straight from a movie that I never imagined would happen to me. Not that many people passed by that place, nor was there a surveillance camera. No one probably even noticed I was kidnapped yet. I was uncertain there was accomplished, but I was not particularly bulky, but I doubt she could drag me away all by herself. In fact, who called me back then anyway? Despite my best effort, I couldn't even remember that person's gender. Before I could think further, hear footsteps outside. Couldn't help but tense up. Who was that? Before I made up my mind I had to respond, I saw the girl pushing open the door. Holding a knife and wearing the same overcoat and scarf, she stared at me. I tried to look back calmly, but I could still clearly feel my rapid heartbeats.
Finally up, rich boy.
I looked at her silently, trying to guess her intention from her words and actions. In this unfamiliar situation, there were too many questions still unanswered. The location, the time, their objectives. Any sort of information would help.
You're free once your daddy pays up, so stay quiet. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what'll happen to you.
After she told that to me, she sat next to the window and lit a cigarette. It was easier to see her face in the sunlight. Her neglected long hair was messy. The long bangs almost blocked her vision. Her pale skin wasn't makeup, more like something she was born with, a result of poor health. Or maybe drug abuse?
Hey,
The girl's voice broke my train of thought. She stared coldly at me, with a cigarette still in her hand.
I will make a few things clear. When I contact your dad, don't talk, don't move, don't have any funny ideas. This is not a game. I don't have the patience, and I don't mind shutting you up by breaking one or two bones.
Digesting her every word, I pondered what to say. Got it. I'll play by your rules. So, assessing the best way to deal with her, I should avoid triggering her, for my own safety.
You better.
I am free once to get the money, right?
What do you think?
A nonchalant answer proved my guess. Not to her, assent meant anything. If a kidnapper's promise actually meant anything, then even world peace wouldn't be a pipe dream.
Hao Chen Jiang, age 18, only son of CEO Hua Jiang, address is Zhangjian Road, Lane 2. Living by himself, buying breakfast at 10 a.m. every day, jogging at the park at 8 p.m. Cram school every Tuesday and Thursday, which ends at 9:30 p.m. Always takes the short cut at the walkway under construction.
She lazily read my information. From time to time, paused to look at me, as though anticipating something. Quite comprehensive. She grunted after noticing my lack of reaction. Leaking personal information wasn't new, but it was still uncomfortable to hear someone's knowing your daily routine like they knew their own garage. If she knew that much about me, did that mean an acquaintance of mine was behind all this? My best attempts to remember still failed. Hard to believe she had any reason to pick me. No one but my parents and building security knew my schedule. Nothing could be the leaker. First things first. You don't have to keep my feet tied up, you know. I have no intention of running. If you don't believe me, my hands are still tied. Also, you have a knife. I couldn't run away like this even if I wanted to. It's really uncomfortable being tied up like this, and it's just poison.
I told you before.
She interrupted me. She squatted before me and looked me right in the eye.
I hate people like you. Having too much money to spend, never tasting any pain, and everything just goes your way. You know nothing, yet still act almighty like some big shot. Uncomfortable? You think I care? Let's make you more uncomfortable, I say.
What a messed up personality. I found her animosity, but didn't want to explain it to her. Too many people have found society to be unfair, always blaming their failures on someone else, thinking they were victims of the system. If it was that easy to convince her, she wouldn't have kidnapped someone in the first place.
Got nothing left to say now?
Noticing my silence, she tried to provoke me. I wasn't dumb enough to argue with someone with my hands tied, especially if said person was holding a knife.
Loser.
Seeing as how I didn't respond, she sneered and lost interest in me, returning to the window. So, what now? What do you want?
Are you an idiot? Money, of course. Do you think I enjoy kidnapping people?
She grunted in disdain, then her mouth broke into a naughty smirk.
Of course, teaching your type a lesson feels good too. Otherwise, you would think the whole world revolves around you. Huh.
Her words were still aggressive. I still had no idea why she was so mad. Everything else aside, just the fact I didn't even know her in person made it bizarre that she had such a grudge. So, what happens after you get the money? Kidnapping is naturally for money, but money for what? They ask for more? Escape abroad? Most importantly, they intend to let me go.
What do you think?
She raised the corner of her mouth and returned the question. The non-committal smile was creepy.
It's none of your business anyway. You just pray your daddy pays up soon. That amount is nothing to you, right?
I hope so too. Bringing this up covered my mind in shadow, but I couldn't do anything about it. So what now?
Hmm?
What's your name? The girl was staring at her phone and didn't hear my question, so I repeated it.
Wang Yi.
She carelessly said 2 syllables before suddenly shutting up. She raised her head and looked at me cautiously. Say again? I simply remembered the partial answer, but acted as though I heard nothing.
Oh, is that my character? Sorry.
Yes.
You think I'll tell you just so you can call the cops later?
How should I address you then? Hearing my response, she burst into laughter.
How to address me? Are you out of your mind? You can address me any way you want. I'm not here to make friends.
So what now? I should rest while I get the chance. I wasn't sure how much time passed. I'd grown hungry. I still hurt a little, and my tied up limbs only made me moody. She just sat there staring at her phone. She kept dialing some numbers with an anxious expression.
Why don't you eat some? Oh, sorry.
I can't tell who this is.
Maybe it's him?
Why don't you eat something?
Not hungry.
Did you already eat this morning?
Just cut to the chase and stop beating around the bush, will you?
She replied coldly, staring at me with a certain annoyance. Hey, chill.
Keep babbling. I dare you.
With another kick out of nowhere, she looked down on me mercilessly. You want money, right? How much?
None of your business.
I tried to negotiate with her, but she just looked even more annoyed. Look, if you let me go now, all my money is yours. All the cash on me in my bank accounts, that should work, right? I'll say nothing and pretend this never happened. I live by myself anyway. No one will suspect if I just say I took a walk.
Shut up. You think I'm a fool? Why should I believe you? You think you can talk your way out of this? Just shut up and wait for your daddy to pay.
She snorted and showed no interest in my proposal. What if he won't?
He will.
She interrupted me, raising her eyebrow in response.
He'll be in real trouble if he doesn't.
I realized her implication. A dry chuckle felt bitter. She had a point. I'd be in trouble without the ransom. I suppressed my worry, knowing it was not the time to panic. My priorities were collecting as much information as possible, replenishing my stamina, and finding a chance to escape. Can I have something to eat or drink? I haven't eaten anything since yesterday.
Oh? The rich boy is already hungry after skipping one meal.
Yup. I meant it without hesitation. My hunger was real. There's nothing impressive about hiding that. She couldn't retort, so she poured me a glass of water from the bottle after a grunt. You can't grab it unless you untie me.
Just lick it like a dog.
I tried to convince her to loosen up the rope, but she had no intention of doing so. Then please hold it still.
Seriously?
Noticing I would do as she suggested, she sounded surprised. Was it your idea? You don't want to, you can just feed me yourself. Not breaking a sweat, I replied coldly. Fire was not edible, I had to keep my strength.
Why, you...
I was used to it. If someone wanted to insult or enrage you, you just accept it plainly. People like cats, don't show interest in toys that don't struggle.
Don't move.
No longer composed, she moved closer to me with water in her hand. What are you? I was pressed to the wall without finishing my sentence. She bent my head and forced the water down my throat, like some sort of torture.
Want some more?
She raised her eyebrow, smiling victoriously. Screw you. I couldn't say anything while choking. Spilled water soaked my clothes, making me tremble in this cold weather. That was straightforward and violent, but at least I can rest a little after drinking some water. The cell phone on the table started vibrating. She stole a glance at me with pursed lip after seeing the number. People had small gestures when they were under pressure, like pursing lips, flipping hair, and biting nails. The person in question might not be aware of it, but one's body language revealed his or her true emotions.
Stay here and don't you dare make a sound.
Leaving with that threat, she walked out through the door with the phone. When the door closed shut, I barely heard the conversation outside. I was not able to figure out the exact content. Was it an accomplice? To being left as a chance to escape, there were more of them. I sighed towards the sky, as though mocking my effort. Every undesirable outcome had occurred. If it was only her, then I had to rest as much as possible. There might be a chance to escape when she wasn't careful. The door was the only exit. I might be able to jump out through the window if I could free myself from the ropes. Locations, head counts, weapons, too many uncertainties. Let alone how to untie this damn rope. It's more practical to figure something out on my own than to wait for rescue. It would have been ideal if I could persuade her to let me go. Absolutely could not trigger her before I was prepared. At the very least, I should get her to drop her guard to facilitate my escape. After that, I would play it by ear. Let's try to find something useful when she's not around. The lone pair revealed signs of age. It seems to be a popular video game from the past. There's nothing unusable as a weapon except a pen, which is a poor choice against a knife. It's a rectangular wooden desk. The rough, unprocessed surface has sawdust all over it. It looks as if it was well worn with time. We wanted to pick it up even if I found it at a recycling center. There's a simple wooden chair unpolished just like the desk. It's quite rough, as though it was actually made by hand. I'm not sure how old this chair is, but I can almost smell its level of decay. The sunlight shone through the window at a certain angle. adding some dynamism to the dark room. Even the moldy smell seemed to be much fainter.
Damn it.
The girl walked back and forth in the room, anxiety clear on her face. What's wrong?
Your dad doesn't believe you're with us. What an idiot.
Why not let me talk to him?
Shut up. Who do you think you are? Did I ask for your opinion?
Triggering her sensitive nerve, she threw me another kick. I just think it might be more effective.
No one cares what you think. Shut up and wait for the ransom. Got it? What's so funny? You think I won't lay a finger on you?
She frowned upon hearing my laughter, then took out her weapon threateningly. No, it's just that I'm not that important to him.
What do you mean?
Noticing how odd my statement was, she raised her eyebrow and followed up. I've been contacting my family for a long time. Our relationship is as close as you may think. Ever since I got kidnapped, I've been wondering if I should tell her that or not. It was a poor choice for a hostage. She would let me go or silence me instead. However, it was only a matter of time before she found out, so I might as well have been transparent here.
Why? Rebellious phase or something?
He's self-centered, or maybe just a workaholic? The complicated family relationships were hard to explain in a few words, or deciding how to piece my sentences together to answer a question. He spends half a year abroad and never cares about the family. He will work till midnight even when he's back in Taiwan. I don't even see him that often on holidays. It's always about the company, so for stockholders and employees, blah blah blah. In my opinion, it's all for his own ego. Whether it was a graduation, birthday, even car accident. He never showed up. Not even a single damn call. Clearly his job is far more important than me. Probably wouldn't even know about the accident if not for the hospital calling emergency contact. I tried to shrug, but my tied up hands made it impossible. Anyway, he doesn't care if I'm dead or alive. I might even feel relieved about me getting kidnapped. Sorry about that, but I would have had better luck with his secretary. Hell, let me go now. I can tell you his secretary's number as a bonus. I proposed to her half jokingly, yet her reaction was unexpected. She didn't open her mouth, instead just looking at me coldly from beside the window.
You think that's funny?
To my surprise, she walked to me while flipping her hair.
You think you deserve sympathy? Want me to pity you?
She grabbed my collar and pulled me so close I could feel her breath.
Car accident? Hospitalized? Your daddy doesn't give a shit about you? Be fucking grateful that he didn't leave you a pile of debt. You think everyone has a happy family? School, meals, a home. So many things you take for granted aren't the case for us. Stop acting like some victim if you know nothing. You just make me want to puke.
Every word was delivered clearly. Her voice contained a certain undescribable weight. Seeing me not responding, she let go of my collar, spat on the ground angrily.
I'm wasting my time.
Realized she might have spoken too much. She turned her head away and returned to the window like a bursted bubble. Well, that didn't work. Sighed lightly. Things wouldn't be that easy after all. It was true I wanted to win her pity, but there was no lie either. Father was working and the mom never home. That's the image of my family. Every time I was home, all I could see upon opening the door was the vast, empty living room. I noticed how big the house was, so big that I could feel only emptiness. I breathed out, raised my head, and looked at that small part of the sky from the window. The only lie was that I no longer felt hurt by it. Hunger. Night came and I hadn't eaten nothing but some crackers. I knew starving could be this uncomfortable. She didn't seem to eat anything either, just either staring at her phone or smoking while looking out the window. There were a few phone calls, but they were all made outside, so I couldn't hear them. I didn't know what they discussed, but it didn't appear that negotiating with my family was smooth. Without hesitation, I decided to ask her.
What?
I need to go to the bathroom. She still glanced at me, but acted as though she heard nothing. I said I need to go to the bathroom. I repeated myself. This time she slowly turned towards me.
You?
She probably didn't expect my physiological needs. She put her mouth awkwardly, but couldn't say anything.
Can't you figure something out on your own?
Totally the type that got angry with nothing to have to say. She turned her head with a stern face, knocking on the desk with her knuckle. Realizing this might be the chance to make her untie the ropes, I grew silent. Not knowing my plan, she acted carefree, but kept stealing glances in my direction. Since it was about time, I sighed innocently. Guess I have to do it here after all.
Wait.
Seeing I wasn't joking, she stopped me with a darkened face.
Are you a retard? Can't you go to the bathroom by yourself?
Staying in the old house was one thing, but even a kidnapper wouldn't want to stay in a room filled with crap. I can't even unzip myself like this.
You are so annoying!
She pushed me to the wall suddenly and turned me over. Why don't I panicked over not seeing anything? I tried to turn myself back, but only heard a cold voice next to my ear.
Be quiet.
She pressed my body with her elbow. I felt a cold sensation in my back. No question about what that was.
No talking, no struggling. If you move, I stab. If you yell, I stab.
She wasn't going to castrate me, was she? She knew that without my genitals, I would still need to go to the bathroom, right? Wait up. Ouch! Then I sliced my back before I finished the sentence. I yelped out of pain.
Didn't you hear me? No talking.
She pushed me hard against the wall, limiting my movements. For the weight. I immediately shut my mouth, waiting for her next move. Suddenly, the restriction in my hands disappeared. Oh. It's quite a relief, both mentally and physically. My hands were finally free, and I felt all my energy was used up. Never thought moving freely could bring such happiness. Even my shoulders and neck felt much better. If I could move my hands, my chance of escape was much higher.
Raise your hands.
As though she saw through me, I saw the sharp knife and turned round. Eh?
I told you to raise your hands.
Wait a sec. I won. She's totally not giving me a chance to explain myself. I'm risking my own life. I raised my hands obediently. I can't escape even without the rope. It would be so dumb as to fight someone with a knife. She ignored my nagging and showed no hesitation with her movements. My happiness would evaporate instantly. Within a minute of my freedom, I returned to being a prisoner. One glance at the bathroom, and antiquated was the only word I could think of to describe it. The old bathroom naturally wasn't huge. The light from the window was the only illumination. The air smelled of mold. The tiles were engulfed with dirt, the bathtub covered in tiles. The ink green toilets all looked like products of the last century. The drain was so nasty you couldn't even look at it. I tried to make a face in the mirror, but the reflection was so blurry I couldn't even recognize myself. My effort to tear the rope was in vain. I moved my tied hands back and forth, but I couldn't remove it without some tool. I could find some sort of sharp item like a razor or a broken tile.
Done yet? You better not have any funny ideas.
Almost done. She sounded impatient outside the door. To avoid suspicion, I chose not to stay too long. I prepared to leave after finishing my business. Bathroom breaks were the only time I was by myself. If only I could find some weapons. Just to the faucet. Surprisingly, there was still running water. Upon exiting, she immediately moved closer in case I was hiding something. From the road to my pocket, she didn't miss any detail. There's nothing, really. In the body search, didn't seem to remove her suspicion of me, as though there's no way I could be this obedient. We found to cooperate, right? I'm not brave enough to risk my life.
You better not be. You're the only one in trouble if you try to escape. If the rope can't hold you, I wouldn't mind breaking your leg.
Making a final threat, she returned to a window and lit a cigarette. She tightly supported her head. The messy hair hid her expression, making it hard to tell her thoughts, which seemed to disappear with the cigarette smoke.
Hey.
She recklessly went through my cell as suddenly.
Why don't you have your mom's number here?
I accidentally deleted it.
Oh?
She's busy. No time for me. Having no intention to talk about my family, I tried to end the topic quickly, as she started laughing mockingly.
So busy that she doesn't even know her son was kidnapped? Isn't your dad the only one working? What is she busy with? Shopping? Afternoon tea? Buying luxury purses abroad?
How biased can you be? I was fed up with an unreasonable attitude, trying to paint rich people as pigs drowning in money on shores of luxury. They had no ability nor brains, were only good at ordering people around with money, exhausted their employees every day just to earn more money to waste. I didn't know how many people believe in such stereotypes, or suspecting others were doing something illegal if they had a better life than themselves. They didn't even ponder the reason behind those differences, but simply lamented the social injustice and cursed others' success. Such blind hatred of the rich was simply laughable. All these claims of, they're just lucky relying on their parents, could do the same if I were rich, or just to repel for their self-righteousness.
Biased?
Hear my words, she snorted and raised her eyebrow in disapproval.
Are you kidding me? Aren't you the ones with the bias? What can you achieve without a diploma? Hey, who let people like her in? Watch out, she must be a thief if she's this poor. Aren't these your slogans? Ha!
After her lively invitation, she burst into laughter, her voice filled with self-depreciation.
I would like to know what I've done to deserve all your bias.
Her tone sounded like the one who'd been through much discrimination. I wasn't sure what sort of experience had led her to such extreme mindset. Yet, such words from the mouth of a kidnapper seemed only to prove those biased statements.
Whatever.
She turned her head, as unwilling to say more. Night arrived, her eyes sparkled like stars and focused on some faraway place I couldn't reach.
It couldn't be helped. I know that. The world isn't fair.
The girl's whisper was barely audible. I wasn't sure if it was directed at me or to herself. It echoed within the room like some spell and stayed for a long time. Many things were easier than expected. She never knew kidnapping could be this easy. He was taking out any sort of resistance. The girl looked at the boy next to the wall. He curled his body up to preserve some warmth. His short and rapid breathing seemed to indicate he couldn't find peace even in a dream. Uncertain if he had really fallen asleep, the girl didn't close her eyes, despite her drowsiness, afraid he might escape if she wasn't careful. When she got the ransom, she could start a new life, away from the stigma and boredom. His cell phone flashed a notification. Some hesitation flew across the girl's face, but reverted back to the same look of sternness. She had long decided that it didn't matter what it would take. So long she had lived for someone else, it was time to fight for her own right. So cold. I didn't feel better after I slept. Instead, I felt even more tired. I was hoping to find a chance to escape when she fell asleep. However, time passed. She didn't show any sign of closing her eyes. Couldn't help but fall asleep first. The last thing I saw was her lighting another cigarette. My body must have really been exhausted if I could fall asleep like that. I opened my eyes in a daze and saw an unfamiliar face right before me.
Ah,
I jumped back reflexively and tried to shield my chest with my hands. Yet my tied up hands reminded me of my kidnapped status, regardless, I was shocked by this new face. I stared at a new girl before me. The first thing I noticed were her beautiful eyes, clean, light brown like pieces of amber. Her thick coat and dark red sweater looked pretty old. Her small body suggested she might have been in junior high, so she was clearly unfit for a place like this. I didn't know who she was, but I easily noticed the knife in her hand. She stared straight at me, but showed no signs of speaking, which somehow emitted an inexplicable pressure. Who are you? I tried to ask her, but she refused to answer and shook her head. She was on guard of my every movement in her pressed lips. There was no sign of the kidnapper around. There were only the two of us in the room. In other words, a good chance to escape. Can you untie the rope for me? Head shaking. Since she had no intention to help, I tried to untie it myself. Her expression vividly changed upon noticing my attempt.
don't move.
As expected, only now the victim or the accomplice would be here. If she wasn't tied up and instead held a knife, then she must be my guard. The quiet girl and the antisocial one. A bizarre combo. This sort of plot in a movie would have easily triggered the haters. It appeared reality could be more ridiculous than fiction. I breathed out and couldn't help but laugh out of stress. I had no idea why they would pick her as a partner. I could defeat someone of her size even if she had a knife. Assuming she was alone. Is there anyone else here? There'd be no progress if I didn't strike up a conversation. But I had to speak proactively after giving it some thought. She stared at me tightly with no response, making one wonder if she understood. You were asked to guard me, right? Still no response. Can you untie the rope for me? I can't feel them now, and if it stays like this... She shook her head, finally speaking of being silent for a long time.
Big Sis told me not to listen to you.
Her voice was light and quiet, like smoke in the air. I finally heard her speak, yet it was frustrating to hear something so pointless. Who is this Big Sis? Is she the one with long hair that kidnapped me? Where is she? I need to talk to her. After continuously asking her questions, I've not gotten a single answer. Perhaps I was asking them too eagerly. That made her unconscious. She looked at me suspiciously, refused to say anything. I told myself to hang in there, and to stay calm in these situations. Took a deep breath to suppress my unease, tried to smile to lighten up the mood. Do you have anything to eat? Don't tell me your sister doesn't allow that either. I had no strength and an empty stomach. I hadn't eaten anything since yesterday. My stamina went out faster in this cold weather. And I saved my energy for my chance. This was the war of attrition. Either she let me go or I give up first. Answering with actions, she poured a bowl on the ground. Grabbed the water bottle with difficulty and carefully poured some into it.
Here.
She handed me the bowl, then brought me a pack of crackers. Worrying on my escape, she never moved her gaze away from me, and grasping the knife never loosened up. Observing her actions quietly, I hoped to read her thoughts, but couldn't discern anything except stress. I drank the water with much effort, spilling quite a bit on my clothes due to my tied up hands. Clothes are wet again and finally getting dried. The hard crackers tasted like pure flour alone, hard to swallow even with water. I knew it was not the same time to be picky and to cherish any opportunity to replenish my strength. Noticing her conflicting gaze, I asked, "What's wrong?"
Big Sis is not a bad person. It will let you go when she gets the money. So please don't move.
I will cooperate. At least for now. I didn't finish the full sentence, but she already looked happy and clearly dropped her guard a little. Organizing the information I could gather, I started to plan my next steps. Would the teacher notice something was wrong if I hadn't gone to the cram school for 2 days? Unlikely, considering how often I skipped it. Unless this lasted long enough, but even in the worst case scenario, they only contacted parents instead of the police. I started to regret not having more friends who had noticed me going missing. Expecting her to let me go upon getting the ransom? Would it really be that easy? Remembering that vague smile, I didn't feel very assured. The girl was squatting next to the wall and stared at me while hugging her legs. There's no curiosity in her eyes, as though nothing interested her here. She was just guarding this place at someone else's behest. Big Sis, huh? Considering their relationship, it was unlikely she planned the kidnapping. She was mostly just an accomplice, following orders. Like some stereotypical bad girls who smoke or dye their hair, she looked like a well-behaved but shy kid. At least, if I met her in this situation. So who was playing all this? Somehow I felt things were not as simple as they seemed. There are too many points of suspicion if they were the ones planning this. Even carrying me here should have been problematic for them. Also, the person she was contacting concerned me as well. Hey. I called out to catch her attention and tried to start a conversation. She was younger than a kidnapper yesterday, with much less animosity. There might even be a chance to convince her. Where did you get my information? You're a student, right? Do you know what you're doing? She stared at me with no change of expression. I wasn't sure if she heard me. This might be even more troublesome than the other one. I could at least guess my kidnapper's thoughts if there was some sort of conversation. I wasn't wasting my time here at this rate. I don't know what she told you, but this is kidnapping. I tried to sound more threatening to make her talk. There would be punishment even if you're underage. That would involve your family too. Do you know that? They're just using you. They might blame you this all on you later.
Big Sis would not do that.
She abruptly interrupted me. How can you be so sure? Just because she was kind to you, do you think she would still be on your side by then? After making her talk, I tried to push forward. Has she told you her plan after getting the money? Do you really know her?
Big Sis would not do such a thing. You're the one who doesn't know her.
She interrupted me loudly, stood up all of a sudden, her little body shaking. I didn't expect such a big reaction. Perhaps her relationship with her big sis was closer than I thought. Of course I don't know your big sis. I stopped for a few seconds and stared at her coldly. All I know is that she's a kidnapper. It's all that matters.
Liar! You don't know why, Big Sis.
She raised the knife and yelled at me with her chest heaving up and down. I saw the words before the key part. Why then?
Big Sis is just...
Facing my question, she lowered her gaze, worrying she might get too agitated and really harm me. I decided to change the subject despite my desire to continue. Anyway, I don't get it, but you better give it some thought. I coldly ended the conversation, leaving her staring at me hesitantly. No matter how much faith one had in others, no one would stay still after hearing those words. I wasn't sure how effective that was. I could only wait and see.
It's not like that.
Not able to retort, she squatted next to the wall in depression, mumbling with her head in her arms. Seeing her almost about to cry made me feel a little uncomfortable, but I would do anything as long as I could get out of here. Besides, they're the ones at fault here. There should be no sense of guilt involved if I hurt them a little. Let's try to strike a conversation with her. How long you known Big Sis? She stared at me cautiously, still not feeling too happy about me saying bad things about her Big Sis. You really like your sister, huh? Sighed heavily, the pressing my chest didn't lessen one bit.
Yeah,
She nodded without a second thought. She was only this certain when it involved her Big Sis. What if you're being manipulated?
I don't want to hear that.
She awkwardly turned her head to hide it behind a book, refused to talk to me further. I tried to strike a conversation with her. A strange looking lamp that doesn't even have a lampshade. I don't know what era it might have been made during. And toss it like a weapon? That time is out first, though. There's quite a variety of books, ranging from magazines, reference books, to even cookbooks. Only thing is sharing comments that poor condition. A theory of justice, the Lucifer effect. Quite a few things I'd never heard of. There might be some used books picked up from somewhere. You really like reading, don't you?
Yes,
I've been reading at the corner for a few days now. I changed to another book after finishing one and never get bored throughout the afternoon. I'll lose my patience if I have to read for more than an hour or two. The book selection was pretty diverse, ranging from novel to magazines to travel guides. It didn't appear there was any real selective process. Where'd you get all these books? You borrowed them? It's unlikely for them to buy books if they had to kidnap me for money. However, there was no library barcode on them either, on top of the fact that they looked quite old.
Big Sis gave them to me.
She answered without raising her head and kept flipping through the book.
Big Sis wants me to read more so people won't look down on me in the future.
Right. The explanation was unexpected. I thought she would say educated people are all liars and rich people are all demons. Odd to talk about how damnable the rich people are, yet she still wanted to be like them. Did they just sis go to school?
Only till middle school.
She raised her head with a rare smile on her face.
She might not look like it, but Big Sis had good grades.
For real? Good grades. I tried to imagine a girl in a school uniform. I just couldn't picture her as someone with good grades. In-person life was surprisingly boring. You could do anything with tied hands, and the only person could talk to was the silence of a rock in one corner of the room. There was no phone, no TV, no internet. Just usually insufficient 24 hours now felt way too long. Yet she didn't look one bit bored, flipping through the book from God knows where. She observed my movements from time to time. Ate the same crackers for breakfast and lunch. Also went to the bathroom once, hoping to find a chance to escape. She stood outside with a knife when I was in there, neither rushing me nor leaving. Having found nothing useful there, I left post-haste. Don't you eat anything more normal, or do you just love crackers? She ate the same thing as me. They were cheap and tasteless no matter how long you chewed, and they only serve to make your mouth dry. Unless you want to use worth them for a lottery, there really was no reason to keep eating them. We started a conversation out of boredom. She raised her head thoughtfully.
This is very cheap and lasts long.
Aren't you worried about malnutrition? There's nothing but starch, let alone fiber or vitamins. Pretty ironic for something called a nutrition biscuit.
Oh,
Showing no concern about balancing her diet, she didn't even raise her head, but just replied nonchalantly. Hanging out with her this whole morning, she didn't give me any sort of proper response when it was about her Big Sis. Pretty incredible, I would say. Strangely enough, it was like she didn't care about this Big Sis that much. It's more like she just didn't care about anything else. Did you figure something out with my dad?
no idea.
Her answer without hesitation didn't seem to appear to be a lie. However, it did trigger my curiosity if she didn't even care about the status of the ransom. No matter who you are, you must care about something. It could be family, work, or some dream. Yet, she had none of that. There wasn't even some sort of animosity against me, only caution at most. Why do you like your, big sis? Hesitating a little, I decided to follow how she addressed the person in question.
Because Big Sis took good care of me.
That's it? She said no more despite the pause, didn't realize she had finished. She frowned as though she stared at me. You're willing to do all this just because she took good care of you?
Quite the burden.
It must be easy to please. What the hell? Treat her nicely, she might even kill someone for you. Kidnapping is by no means a light crime in any country. It could easily end up with more than 10 years of jail time. When not still by gangs like to recruit students. Around that age, anyone nice to you must be a friend, or anyone would just do anything for a friend. Unable to retort, a bit of confusion flew through her eyes.
Because Big Sis is nice, so I want to help her. Is that strange?
She said quietly. Depends on what you're helping her with. It was a simple question about an implication. Maybe no one took care of her, except this Big Sis.
Many things you take for granted aren't the case for us at all.
Remembering her words from yesterday, I realized they might have some real difficulties. Now I just feel... maybe they had the reasons to do this. As she said, the world's not fair. If only I had convinced them to let me go. Within the silence, the sudden phone vibration sounded extra sharp. Like yesterday, the girl picked up the phone immediately.
Hello?
Perhaps she was asked about me as the girl glanced at me when answering the call.
Yes, it's alright.
I had no idea what the conversation entailed, only guessed from her words.
Okay.
It was the kidnapper from yesterday. Where could she be if she needed to call to confirm my situation? Did she already contact someone to get the ransom, or maybe have other bases?
He's next to me. Alright.
The girl handed me the phone. I raised my tied hands, then shrugged helplessly. She hesitated a little, then put the phone next to my ear. At this distance, I could bump into her by surprise. I could probably still overwhelm her even with my tied up limbs. Before making up my mind, I heard a voice from the phone.
Hello?
The cold voice sounded a little different through the phone. The noise in the background seemed to indicate that she was somewhere outside, maybe a restaurant or a karaoke place.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
I see you're still kicking.
Sorry to disappoint. She didn't seem pleased with my greeting. Maybe she was expecting me to go into a panic and shiver in a corner. The more she wanted to seem in fear, the more I wanted to act indifferent. It wasn't really part of any sort of strategy, just some kind of show of resistance.
You should know this by now, but I'll repeat it again. Don't try to run. Don't ask questions. I'm watching you, and if anything happens...
She paused and left a threat.
Even if I agree to return you, I wouldn't be breaking the deal if you lost an arm or leg.
Got it. You need to guess what she wanted to say. Lose an arm or leg, throw me off a cliff, blah blah blah. Hell, even agreeing to return me alive was already saintly of her. Most would intend to keep the hostage alive. Hostages used to get silenced after kidnappers got the money and were ready to run. I didn't plan to believe her words from the beginning. If they played too nice, I might get killed without knowing how. Is my dad paying?
None of your business. Just worry about yourself.
But bullshit. I would have asked about that if not out of concern for my own safety. I wanted to ask more, but she got stopped mercilessly.
I'm heading back now, so stay put. That's all.
Hey, wait! Before I could say anything, she hung up. Hanging up right after she said whatever she wanted. What a woman. Hearing the empty sounds of a disconnected call, I knew being mad would make no difference.
What did Big Sis say?
She approached me once the call ended and asked me wordedly. Within a short period of time, I wondered what to say. She told me to stay put. She would be home soon.
Oh,
Not showing any emotion, she simply took away the phone and sat back in the corner. I remember how the big sis sat next to the window, smoking, seemingly in thought and also in patience. In contrast, this girl was way too quiet and she just sat there, holding her legs together. How much did she really know about the kidnapping? She didn't even know me, nor what to do. The big sis asked her to guard me, so she guarded. The big sis asked her not to talk to me, so she didn't talk to me. Whether it was about the outcome or the reward, she was clueless and didn't care. She just had faith in her big sis. Such blind trust was not far from stupidity. I almost felt bad for her. Time felt much longer when you were waiting, even sighed in relief when I heard a sound approach. A motorcycle engine was shut down not too far away, and closing footsteps echoed through the staircase. The noise was empty, but had a certain rhythm. There was no elevator. Was this an apartment or some privately owned house? I could only hear one person's steps, so there was no one coming back with her.
I'm back.
The one who walked in was the same girl from the day before, aka the big sis. Same overcoat as yesterday, and her expression hasn't changed either. Welcome home. Not sure what was going on in my mind, she looked at me suspiciously, handed a plastic bag in her hand to the other girl.
Bento. Eat it while it's still hot.
Big Sis.
The little girl whispered something to her ear. Couldn't tell the context from this distance. The girl nodded, staring dead straight at me. Once the girl finished, she moved towards me with the knife. She tried to check the rope, even pulled it a few times to make sure it was tight enough. I told you I didn't do anything. If I could get out of this, do you really think I would stay here?
Quiet.
Ask her then. She threw the other girl a questioning glance, which was answered by a silent nod. Her head wasn't even turned. It seemed that the bento was much more attractive than the situation here. She snorted unhappily. Couldn't find a reason to act up. She then just started to laugh scornfully.
Whatever. I doubt you have the balls to try anything. You have a rich mommy and daddy arranging everything for you, from school to work. You probably even have a maid cleaning the house. You can't do shit on your own, can you?
Here we go again. This ridiculous resentment was not just aimed at me, but anyone with a better life than her. What's the point of hating all these people? Would it change anything about her life? Wouldn't it be more practical if she tried to change something instead of hating? Where'd you go? She probably would only be more pissed off if this continued, so I decided to change the subject to avoid trouble.
Oh, wouldn't you like to know?
Not cutting me any slack, she raised her eyebrow provocatively. I sighed helplessly. It was really going nowhere if she kept up with this attitude.
You start eating. Don't mind me.
Only after she spoke did I notice the little girl hadn't moved her chopsticks despite having the bento open, as though waiting for Big Sis to start the meal together.
I had dinner already. Don't need to leave me anything.
She loosened her furrowed brow and patted the little girl's head kindly. There was even a smile on her face. The little girl nodded obediently. An outsider like me could tell how close they were. If anything, I couldn't even believe she still had such a expression in her. More questions popped into my mind upon seeing their interaction. With such familiarity, what was their relationship? The sound of water flowing in the bathroom reminded me that I hadn't taken a shower for 2 days. I still felt uncomfortable even though I barely moved or sweat. So I was willing to give up half my possessions for a hot shower and pay my future income for a cup of cocoa as a bonus. The little girl was clearly starved and was quietly and happily eating the rice. She paid no attention to me. Her figure looked extra weak and small for me, so I couldn't believe she could be a kidnapper. What kind of family would allow her to do such a thing? Whatever. Considering my own family had no right to criticize others.
Yeah.
The girl left the bathroom holding her hair. She only washed her face since there was no hot water. The light shone on her face, rendering her pale complexion a little more rosy, yet the expression on her face was still cold as ice.
What are you looking at?
She seemingly noticed my gaze, and asked me with an eyebrow raised. Nothing, so I haven't taken a shower for a while.
You think this is some fancy hotel, rich boy?
I would have called customer service, given such quality.
Keep flapping your mouth. I dare you.
Never mind. She stood over with contempt, then walked to the window to lightly shake the little girl's shoulder. The little girl had finished her bento and was falling asleep against the wall, despite her best efforts to stay awake.
Go to the bed to sleep. You'll catch cold like this.
She nodded sleepily and climbed to the bed obediently. Not minding all the dust on it, she grabbed the bed sheet and lay down. Maybe she was really tired. It didn't take long for her to fall asleep completely, leaving only the sound of steady breathing in the room. The girl walked to the window, opened the bento, and started to eat it quickly. Nothing for me? Torn by the scent of food, I couldn't help but ask.
You can just eat the crackers.
Just a cup of coffee. I have money in my bag. Rather than a hot dinner, I prefer some hot coffee to relax my nerves.
You done yet?
I learned that protesting wouldn't help, and the headache was even more unbearable without coffee. She looked troubled and was just eating absent-mindedly. She kept poking the drumstick for what seemed to be no reason. Please stop playing with the food if you're not in the mood. You can have it if you have no appetite. Hunger plus anger made me give this suggestion.
I am thinking about how to keep your mouth shut.
Without me doing that would solve your problem. Though, noticing her darkened look, I decided to keep my mouth shut. Piecing all the heads together, along with her reaction, I could only come up with one conclusion. You couldn't reach my dad?
How did... You trying to trick me?
Realizing she slipped without thinking, her face instantly darkened again. I didn't mean anything, I just thought... Fearing she might lose her temper, I immediately tried to pass off the responsibility. However, she stood up suddenly.
You looking down on me? Find me easy to fool, huh?
She bit her lip, staring at me with utter hatred, voice colder than ever. Not at all, I'm just guessing randomly. There must be something wrong, and I doubt the police have found this out this soon. Look, Her reaction far surpassed my expectations. I tried to explain myself, but I didn't stop her walking towards me. She walked closer and closer with the knife, eyes flashing with hysteria. Was she really going to do this? Now, I was really fearing for my life for the first time ever. She looked like a cornered animal that would try anything in desperation. Before she got the money, she wouldn't kill me. If resistance was futile, I decided to close my eyes and grit my teeth, hoping she wouldn't continue further. I smelled a faint scent and felt her hair on my cheek, plus rapid breathing. What's that smell? Unbelievably, at this moment of life or death, I was thinking about something this insignificant. I guess my skin was a cold sensation. The blade was right against my chest. A simple push would bear it deep into my flesh. I opened my eyes and saw a look of pure ice right before me.
Don't lie to me.
The voice next to my ear was light but clear.
I'll say it one more time. Don't lie to me. If you look down on me, you will regret it.
Her voice was calm and eyes steady. She didn't clarify how she would do it, nor did she ask for my confirmation, yet the threat was more powerful than anything prior. All my words got stuck in my throat. My body was paralyzed to the point I couldn't even blink. She meant it. I could read emotion in her eyes. That was pure murderous intent. No questions about it. She would do it if I did it again.
I am done with folks like you. Don't think I can't. Worst case scenario, I will just die with you. No biggie for someone like me.
She finished her sentence, moved the knife away, and walked back to the window. I just lay on the ground, motionlessly. The tense body was still trembling. At that moment, I confirmed something. They could end me at any time. The notion of her not touching me before getting the money and having some backup plan meant nothing to them. At this point, she had nothing to lose. I took a deep breath as I faced the window, as I had calmed myself down since childhood. What I needed to do stayed the same. This lamp drew a long shadow from her. What just occurred still creeped me out a little. However, since she hadn't contacted my family, there was still a chance. I breathed in deeply, gathered the courage, and talked to her. I have a proposal. She continued to look out the window motionlessly, showing no interest in my question. Let me go now and all my money is yours. Might not be much, but it's still 70 to 80,000 NTD in total. And I swear I will tell no one. Knowing she might be listening, I kept going on my own, even without a response. You can escort me to the ATM if you want to, or do it in any other manner you prefer. Want to keep this a low down low, right? So why so insistent? He smiled as with the strength to convince her, considering her position, tried to propose something that would be mutually beneficial. I believe no one would risk his or her own life if there was no other choice. Now it's still not too late. Think about it. They waited so long I thought there was no response, but she finally turned her head. There was no rage in her eyes, only exhaustion.
Why should I believe you? Why should I believe that you will hand me money and never call the cops?
I couldn't answer out of hesitation. It's hard to create a situation where both sides could trust each other in the first place. Would agree to such terms that the roles were reversed. I'd be the one in control once I got my freedom. She wouldn't be able to do anything to stop me from calling the cops.
No answer? Then shut the fuck up and stop wasting my time.
Rather than handing her fate to me, she'd rather believe in herself. All my gathered confidence grew fainter and fainter, was out of ideas temporarily. But this kept going. Then, what could I do to win your trust? I asked my last ounce of courage. Matching her stare, I could see the fragility under her cold look. She grew silent and started to ponder my question, and a bitter smile appeared on her face.
I don't know.
She turned to the window and quietly said again,
I don't know.
The mood is heavy. Let's try to do something. Only soldiers or some tech manufacturers still use this kind of antique cell phone. Even old people use phones these days. Old phones can't connect to the internet or leave a traceable GPS signal, only track location through its phone call. Is this why she uses it? Yeah, quite an antique phone.
It's usable. I don't need all those fancy features of other phones anyway.
Well, the manufacturers need to make money with new products, and technology is advancing, so...
And how many of those do you really need?
She clearly interrupted me.
Some don't even have a phone, while others waste their lives to build all these fancy gimmicks. Just like some people are starving while others are picky with their food and call themselves food critics. I really find people like you disgusting.
So be it. Feeling a deep-rooted hatred in her look, a nonchalantly shrug. Those things existed before, exist now, and will continue to exist in the future. We don't choose which part of the world we're born in. We can only struggle in this world with the pre-established rules. The mood is heavy. Let's try to do something. So what is your relationship? They interacted like siblings, yet the ages weren't even close.
I am not in the mood to chat. You better stay quiet too.
Oh. I shut after hearing displeasure in her voice. There was just happened at nose never to make her mad again. We just having us try to do something. I should rest when I get a chance. It was getting late and I still couldn't find a way to change the situation. Instead of escaping and waiting for the ransom, the safest option was convince her to let me go. Things could still get resolved without much incident. Wouldn't be this easy once the police get involved. But how? Even though I could tell she had hesitated, I couldn't win her trust. So I had to win her trust first. The sudden vibration broke the silence. She looked at the phone screen and jolted a little as though being electrocuted. She lowered her eyes and read the message. She raised the corner of her mouth, but didn't appear to be that happy. What is it? Had a bad feeling, instantly asked.
There will be a call in 10 minutes. Tell your dad to pay up if you want to go home.
The unexpected change of events instantly froze my blood. This was way too soon. I was naive to think I still had time to convince her. The moment she reached my family, there was no turning back. The police would start taking action, the family preparing to ransom, and the culprit preparing to escape. What now? What now? I quickly went through all the possibilities in my mind, but I couldn't come up with a solution. I must have stopped thinking. There must be a way out. Time passed second by second, and no time to hesitate. It's the money you want, right? Is there really no other way? Other options to give it all my all, just yelled at her. Not giving her a chance to contemplate and continue after a quick pause. Let me go and you can have all the money as proof of my silence about this. Think about it. Really think you can get the money this easily? Are you okay with playing hide and seek for the rest of your life? I couldn't finish my words. Seeing her expression, I realized that was it. Our next night's life, she looked almost like a dream, too. Empty and transparent to be touched. That smile couldn't hide the helplessness and regret in her eyes. Silence and immense sadness.
There's no turning back.
Her voice was calm. Surprisingly, there's no anger or accusation, only concession in that expression. She surrendered to her hopeless life. Nothing was more convincing than that expression. So even she could express such hopelessness.
There's been no turning back since a long time ago.
phone vibrated again. Seeing her pick up the phone, I couldn't say anything. Should have known. The moment the phone rang, nay, from the very beginning. She had no other choice but this. Under the serene moonlight, the cogwheel started to spin faster. The girl opened the phone. Screen flashed the time, 3 a.m. There's only steady breathing in the room. The boy couldn't resist the desire to sleep after all. It's the money you want, right? Is there really no other way? Remembering his words, the determination in his eyes surpassed his expectations. Perhaps he wasn't as useless as she thought. There was no regret in her decision, only a vague note of ironic sadness. Never until this moment had anyone cared what she wanted, trying to convince her not to break the law. No more one should take responsibility for one's life, or don't keep asking someone to help you. There was no return. Either she would get the money and pay the debt, or get arrested instead. The girl raised her head and looked into the starry sky, standing next to the window like a statue. The stars sparkled like her unsettled mind. Finally, she breathed out quietly.
Worst case scenario, I would just die with him.
The quiet voice of the girl evaporated in the room, along with the cigarette smoke.